This is what happens. This is what happens when you let your bike sit around in the garage for a long time. This is what happens.
You see what happens, Larry?
Always remove your ground first, because if you start trying to pop around on your positive and you hit frame, which you will do, psst, spark, might hurt your electronics, might catch your bike on fire, might burn down your house. So always remove the negative, your ground strap first. Always. Ask me how I know. Now I can do this, right? I can do this, connect with the ground, and no problem, right? Yeah, no need to learn this stuff the hard way. You could take it from the dummy that has done it many times. There's a way of doing things because mechanics have sat down and said, you know, the first 12 times I did this, I kept getting this spark when I take that positive ground strap off, and I started noticing a pattern. And the pattern is, if I take the ground strap off first, I never have that problem. So I think in the future, hey, let me put that in a manual somewhere. So yeah. So that sits down in there kind of an unusual way. Most of the time these things have a strap on them. Yep, I should have a rubber strap in here, but it's gone. Maybe it's stuffed in here somewhere. I'll take a look when I get back. But I'm replacing this battery so I can get my brother to ride with me maybe. I'm actually a candidate for buying this bike. I think he's asking too much for it. But who knows? Yeah. All right. Off to the store to get a battery. And I am back. Got my new Duralast Gold AGM, $126. Ready to ride. Yeah, I shouldn't assume that everybody has the same experience that I have, so I should probably show everybody how to change out a typical battery. And this is pretty typical. I think maybe the new ones may have a different design. I don't know. Leave me a comment if you have a bike that doesn't have a nut insert. And this is kind of a pain in the ass, and I may actually have to get a screwdriver. It took me a long time. I think I was probably on my second or third battery before maybe third bike even. I don't know. I'm a slow learner, so I do like giving folks heads up and how-tos and tips. I enjoy that because morons like me need them. And I've got to assume there's a few morons like me out there, so washer, just to maybe make sure it keeps a better contact with your post. But what you're going to do is drop these nuts in there.
These nuts? Got him! Got him!
Inside here, right? These nuts have to go in there. The problem is they float. So I'm probably going to have to get in there and lift these nuts up with a flathead, as I always have to do. Unless I wanted to do side post, but yeah. So that's what I'm about to do right now. Drop these things in. Uh-oh, I just dropped one of my... Just lost one of them. I sure did. Gotta be careful with that. It's better to drop them on the floor where you can pick them up. I can't talk with these bolts in my mouth. But But yeah, I actually saw where that went, so that's good. Yeah. You know, I'm not even sure where you can get these if it's not on a battery. They're square nuts, and the only place I've ever seen them used is on a battery terminal, and this thing is not fitting in there like the last one did. Oh, there we go. Much better. So first you're going to try to go on here like this, right? And if it doesn't thread in there, you're going to have to get a screwdriver. Maybe it does. I think back in the day, they used to give the bolts were too short to get down there and get the freaking pick up the nut. I think that was the thing. It's been a long time since I've struggled like that, but it seems like either the posts were too big or the bolts were too small, or a combination of both. But yeah, just kind of hand thread it if you can get it in there. If not, you got to stick a freaking screwdriver down in there and lift that damn nut off. This is not wanting to cooperate here. But yeah, so if you were paying attention earlier, I told you to undo a certain post first. Well, this is really not wanting to cooperate. Do you remember which? This is a quiz here. It's a quiz here. I know what I need. I need a flathead screwdriver. Let me get one of those so-called flathead screwdrivers. So if you were paying attention, children, you would remember I was talking about a sequence of disconnecting the post. So in other words, connect one before you connect it, or disconnect one before you disconnect the other. One of those guys. If you'll remember. Now, before I start putting that wrench on there, can you tell me which one gets connected first? Because really, I shouldn't be doing this. I should be doing it the way I told you to do it earlier. Right? So I should go ahead and tighten this thing down, because I'm not grounded. This battery is not grounded, so there is no power yet. Right? This is the way to do it. I always forget until I get that freaking arc. Yeah, you don't want to do that. You know, it may cause you discomfort, or what do you call it? When something bothers you acutely. I'm listening. Nobody say anything, but I am listening. All right. I think if I could just push down on this thing, and that's maybe the problem right now. Yeah, it's not even going in there. I think a Phillips head, big thick Phillips head, might solve this problem. And I just saw some earlier. Where did I see them? Right over there. Yes, indeed. All right, so this motorcycle has been sitting here unridden, unloved for months. No, years. I just don't understand why people do that to motorcycles. Okay, so if you got a museum, I kind of get it, but not really. All right, yep, I'm gonna have to get in there and lift this fucker up. Well, I tell you what might be a better solution is just insert, because I can't really get in there. All right, I think what I'm gonna do is just pop something in there like a piece of paper and hold that sucker up. I mean, does anybody think that this is a genius idea besides me, or is it just me? I mean, I certainly wouldn't consider myself a genius. I just have a way of thinking outside the box. How do you get some things done? And I'm sure there's lots of people that are better at it than me. Just, I wonder how many people there actually are that can think outside the box. So now, and this is what I'd normally do if I could get access to the freaking, but see, this angle's not going to let me do that. Well, I don't know, maybe. That's the problem. I can't get the angle right. So the next best thing is lifting it up, shimming it. That's what I'm going to call this. I'm going to call this a shim. It's just really bad angle. That's the problem. Well, actually, question is, can I get this sucker up while it's playing? That's going to be tough. So you got to just basically get that nut up off the bottom, just a little bit. Doesn't take much, so the bolt can get started on it. Yeah, I'm glad you got to see this. Maybe a lot of you guys do your own service, and I would highly recommend very specific things like brakes, oil, filters, the things that don't take a lot of tools. In some cases, depending on your bike, valve adjustments. Valve adjustments can be, depending on your bike, can be pretty tricky, especially on some of the newer bikes. So maybe that's not something that you would get into on your own. Maybe it's good to have a friend that has some mechanical abilities and experience. Or what's really cool, I've seen a lot of this, is joining a bike specific forum. So I've been members of lots of bike specific forums, and they're a lot of help because the guys in there are, oh, look at that, it just went right in. Oh, you can't even see that, can you? It's genius, I'm telling you. I don't have a lot of choices here. So same thing, going back down in there, and now hopefully it's bumped up just enough so I can start threading this bolt into oh, it bit. Look at that. Now take my evidence out, and now since that one's spec torqued down to 0.47 Newton meters or Newton micrometers or whatever the hell, I don't have a Newton meter wrench, never have, and that's held in there like that, and it should be rubbered in, but obviously this bike's not bouncing around too much, so it's no big deal. So that might be a good thing, to get some stiff rubber. And
that's what she said.
Oh,
all right, let's clean this thing up. Let's see if it'll flip over. A bike that has not been started in probably a couple of years or more. The boy just don't ride motorcycles. I don't think he really is into motorcycles. He's just into owning stuff, maybe. Ooh. Sweet. Alright, we got an engine light on. So if you don't service your bike, you don't know how to check things. You don't know how to you don't know if your brakes are worn. You don't know how to do the certain things that you really need to do. I'm going to close this thing up because I don't think we got a problem in here. Whatever the problem is, well, I may have to look it up. That's the bigger problem. So this is a rear seat. There's the big seat. I think this is going to go on first and then the rear seat. Yes, those are going to have to go inserted in something underneath the tank, looks like. Is that right? Oh, no, these guys. See, you can figure this out. All right, that's not coming out. Oh, yeah. I can learn bikes pretty quickly. Especially if I own them. A lot of motivation to figure out my bikes. What's really embarrassing, though, if you've never done it, is getting out on the road, something going wrong with your bike, and you don't know where basic things are. I don't know where my oil level indicator is. I don't know how to check my oil. I don't know where my fuses are. It's really embarrassing. All right, let's check the oil just for giggles. I'm gonna assume the oil light or the oil indicator is over here. Could be a dipstick for all I know, which makes me a dipstick. It smells like it's burning really rich. And he said that he fixed, I think that's what he said. I think he said he fixed the, where's my little stool? How's my little stool? I think he said he fixed the fuel problem. That may be what's going on now. He's dumping too much fuel in there. It was having a trouble idling before. And he fixed whatever that was, and then he gave up all interest in riding shortly after that, which is really sad. I'm laughing, but it's sad. It goes back to the same thing I keep saying about people and their machines. These awesome machines. Let me make sure that we don't have a little guy over here. Here's a filler. Oh, I bet you that's it. I bet you that's how you check your oil. Because it's got one of those old school, yeah. Well, yep. All right, we got plenty of oil. So I'm just going to assume it is a fuel problem. It's dumping too much fuel in there. The oxygen thing is probably going off, saying, "Hey, there's not enough oxygen in the mix." Yeah, I don't know. I don't know British bikes at all. I know almost nothing, except these are pretty cool bikes. So let's get some air in that rear tire. Let's take this sucker for a spin. So it's pretty funny. I got on it and took it for a loop around the yard and then realized, why can't I take you guys with me? I'm not going to suit up. Need some fuel. Yeah, it's sitting on empty. Need some fuel. But I took it around the yard. I was like, man, this thing is so much more awesome not on pavement. And I just started thinking, yeah, you know, I could do some of this on that big RT, but I've got enough sense to know when it starts getting all wobbly on me. Okay, well I probably don't need to go up that hill there, or I probably don't need to go down that ditch. But this thing, you know, it's not a dual sport, but it's inspires a lot more confidence than that big touring bike. I mean, that thing is just ridiculous. But yeah, I take it through the yard all the time. It's just, you know, the front washes out really easily, and it has no bottom end. It takes a lot of clutch and throttle to get the thing moving. I mean, it's geared really high, and this thing is just the opposite. It's got real torquey. It's real torquey down low. It just feels great. Lots of confidence. And I have been looking at a Tiger. In fact, I looked at one almost identical to this. It was outfitted with a little bit more stuff. But yeah, I mean, I almost want to jump the damn thing. It's so awesome. Like, I would never think about doing that on an RT. Never. I'd go half the speed. So, like, you know, this pine straw is ridiculously slippery with street tires. But yeah, these tires got decent suspension. I mean, you know, I'm certainly bottoming it out. I would certainly bottom it out on some stuff. But yeah, I'm very confident. Like I said, it's not a dual sport, but it's a whole lot closer to an off-road bike than that RT, which is why I'm looking for another bike. I mean, I need a bike that can do at least this kind of stuff. Bounce through the yard, bounce through the grassy hills. I mean, this is kind of what I do. It's, you know, I that stealth camping stuff, that's what I'm into. So being able to go and look at a spot and go, hey, wow, there's a great spot at the top of that hill, and then talking myself out, I was like, man, that RT's gonna struggle up there. And this one, no problem at all. No problem at all. Even in pine straw. Alright, I think I'm gonna put the helmet on and go, well, shit, I'm running out of time here. It's almost 3 o'clock. I really need to get set up for the live stream and get everything set up for that. So I think I'll just park this here.